Good morning, everyone. Welcome to week number 7, the next to the last week for this term. So it's surprising how fast time flies, but here we are at week 7. Wanted to mention this is a picture of dolphins strand feeding at Seabrook Island, where I love to go, and this is where the dolphins work collectively and cooperatively together to herd fish up onto the shore. They always land on the right side and they catch fish this way. You don't see any fish right there, but they did catch some even on that tribe. So let's see what we've got going on. So last week was the last week for you to work on all that information that you put together for your project, whether it was on electric cars or conservation of biodiversity or the permafrost layer or whatever it was. You're actually finished working on the information for your project. So now we've got to get your presentation ready. So let's see what you're doing this week. This week you're going to work in your Sumo web text in chapter 7. There's a whole section on scientific communication, and this is tremendously important, especially in this day and time. It's very important for scientists to be able to communicate science to everyone, whether it's their colleagues or the general public or school children or whoever it is. Everyone needs to understand science and what we're finding in science. So communication is terribly important. And you've touched on this a bit in your presentation that you've been working on, the information that you've been working on, because you had to select an audience and how you would present your information to that audience. What special things would you have to consider if you were giving your presentation to a bunch of kindergarten children versus colleagues in your field who already know a lot about your topic, because that's very important. So you've already touched some on communication and science. You're going to read some information, more information about the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. And you're going to answer questions about the communication of this information. So take a look at that, answer those questions. That, of course, is part of your grade. And then you will work on your communication of your project. And you will make a rough draft of your speaker's notes for your presentation. So let me show you this slide right here. I made an example for some of my students in Bio 120 about how a presentation should look and what you should include. So, here I give them introduction, introduce your topic to the audience, because of course they have no idea what you're going to talk about. And my example was ocean acidification to them. So why is this acidification of bodies of water important to you? Why is it interesting in biology? Support your response with real world examples. So that's what they had to do in this introduction on this slide. And then at the bottom, you will notice where my red arrow is pointing, these are the speaker's notes. So your audience doesn't see the speaker's notes, but you can when you have PowerPoint pulled up. Realize you're going to be making some slides for week 8. And PowerPoint is the easiest way to do that, but you can also use Google Slides and other software too, like Prezi, etc. But anyway, PowerPoint is usually what everybody uses. And you notice that you can pull up the line at the bottom of the screen when you have a slide open in PowerPoint, and you can add information here. And that is where your speaker's notes go. You do not write out everything on a slide. How boring is that? Especially if you stand there and read it. Oh, have I ever seen presentations like that? I sure have. And it annoys me to no end. I can read. Don't read me what's on the slide. Your slide should have just a few very specific points, usually on bullets. And then the speaker expounds on those bullets and explains them. And that's what the speaker's notes are for. They give you information about what you should be covering. on that particular slide. So I want to show you where that is located. You're going to make a Word document that is giving me all of your speaker's notes for all of your slides. But this is where you will put them when you put your presentation together, at the bottom of the slide. And it's very easy to do that. You're already going to have all of these written out. So all you're going to have to do is copy a paragraph and paste it into this section. So I wanted to show you what that looks like because that is where you're going to put them. And then, oops, went past my last slide. Sorry about that. Sun setting, it's toward the end of our time together, so I had to put a sunset in here. Don't forget, if you need anything, here's my name, Dr. Janie Sigmon, m.sigmon@snhu.edu. Please do email me if you need anything. And one thing that I will remind you about is that on Sunday, August the 21st at 11:59 p.m., that is the last moment that you can turn in anything for this course. So please be aware of the deadline. There's no way for you to add anything after that point. There is no way for me to add anything after that point. So you have to get everything in by that night. And if you have any questions, if you're finding that, you run up against some issues and you may need to have get an incomplete for the next month in order for you to work on your project presentation or whatever it is because you've had something come up in your life, please do communicate with me because I have to request that incomplete. m.sigmon@snhu.edu. I'm here for you. Just let me know if you need anything. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful week.